Hey, welcome back to Three Chords and the Truth. We're the locally, I can say that. I really can. We're the local weekly music podcast. We talk to local musicians about, who they are, what they do, why they do it, and how they got to where they are today. I'm your host, Pete Kramer, along with my buddy, Christian Dreschel. And I will not call him Christopher again because I almost got castrated the last time I said Christopher by mistake. He's running Master Control over there. Last show of the season, man. This is just kind of strange that it went by so fast, but we'll be back again in the fall. Don't forget to join and subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube pages. The YouTube pages is where you can find all of the previous episodes that we've had for all 4 years that we've been doing this. The Facebook page is where you can also find Jim Cadrina's weekly list of who's playing where. That particular weekend, Jim's kind of taken over for what Gusto used to be when there used to be a newspaper around here. My band, the Eastwood Project, hey, we're looking for 2 to 3 female singers who can do some backup vocals on our next single that we've got coming out. If you've got any interest in doing that, get a hold of me, send me a direct message on Facebook, or if you got my number, text me, email me at petekramer@aol.com. Any of those are absolutely fine. Last week was a blast, man. We had the guys from the Generation Gap on. Tim, Stan, Gina, Jack, and Dave. Those guys, you can see why they're a party band, because they're party people. We just had an absolute riot with those folks. But anyway, it was fantastic. And again, we've got the new season coming up in the fall. If you've got any suggestions, or if you are a band or a local musician that you'd like to be on the show, a band that wants to be on the show, if you know somebody, drop me a line. We'd like to, have some new folks on with the new things that they've got going on. And not only just like, the folks that we've got on tonight, they're all already in established bands, but they've started a new side project. It's that's really pretty cool. We'll get into that in just one second. But just like I say, get with me, and if you've got somebody that that would be a good fit for the podcast, we'd love to have them on. Again, petekramer@aol.com, or just drop me a line on Facebook. My gig this Saturday got canceled. That sucks, but I will be back at Bloomfield's on the 31st from 7 to 10. Bloomfield's is really cool. A lot of my friends play there, every Wednesday and every Saturday. So, check out Bloomfield's. They've always got some good stuff going on up there. And without further ado, I'm going to bring back some old friends who are in a new band, and a new friend as well that I've not met yet, but I think he fits in great with all the other crazy people. This is Edge of Sundown, and I'm going to go from left to right. My friend Dan Bouvier. Then there's Joe. He's the crazy one. I can tell already we haven't met yet. Christina and Carson, and we're missing Jeff and Kai, who are also there. They both got stuck working, but no, this is going to be cool. It's good seeing you guys again. It's been a couple minutes since we talked the last time. Tell us what's going on with Edge of Sundown, because this has really got my curiosity piqued because of the style of music that you guys have chosen that you're going to make this band of.
Well, I'll let Dan start, or Dan and Christina at least, because they kind of started the project. They kind of had stormed the whole thing, so I'll let them speak to it and start.
So we've had this idea kicking around since like 2018. Thank you.
You were still in high school then, Dan.
Sure. Sure.
I actually was.
He was. I actually was. No, so we had this idea basically, and then kind of as a byproduct of just being as busy as we are with Uncovered and meeting so many more people, because I was so much in the original band scene prior to that I met a bunch of new people. I realized last summer that I knew everybody to fill the role of each part of this band. So Carson was my first dude I hit up. I hit up Joe for guitar. Jeff, the keyboard player who's not here, Christina and I played in a band with back then. And he was the first guy I thought of for that. And then Kai, he came into the picture because we originally had a singer, and then just schedules and stuff didn't work out. So we ended up going on the hunt. He was the only guy I didn't know prior to this. And he's worked out great. He's fantastic. So it's cool because I was able to pick a bunch of people that all like the same stuff as much as Christina and I do. So we all have the same passion for it.
So you got 3 guitar players in this band, right?
No, just 2. We toyed with the idea of doing 3, but right now it's just me and Joe on guitar.
Oh, then what does Kai do then? I've got, from what you sent me yesterday, I thought he did acoustic guitar. Am I wrong?
Oh yeah.
He does it for 1 or 2 tunes at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, he's filling in on some stuff. I don't want to totally give away what's in the set list and stuff, but yeah, Kai's adding acoustic in on a couple songs here and there where it's needed. But for the most part, the guitar is just me and Joe shredding our brains off.
Well, according to what I've been told by Carson, Joe is every bit as good a guitar player as you are, and I've seen some of your stuff.
Better than me.
Shut up, dog. No. It's definitely a great thing to be in a project like this. Like, I've known Dan for a really long time, so to actually now be in a project, and hilariously enough, us coming from the same background of doing the original metal scene for too long, it's really nice that we can be like, hey, yeah, like, we're both shredders at heart, but we can come in and play this music and just kill it, have some fun. It's just a really interesting way of us to express, learn different things that we typically wouldn't. I mean, he's a little bit more versed and has a little more background with it than I did beforehand, but it's just something super cool to do. Really keeps the chops nice and lean.
Yeah, and Christina, what's your love for this type of music, man? Because, I mean, again, all you guys are so very young compared to what I remember when this music was popular.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, since I was young, my dad, always was listening to like Leonard Skinner. My dad's favorite Southern rock band was Molly Hatchet, so I heard a lot of that growing up. And I don't know, something about that music really like stuck to my soul and spoke to me, and I just thought it sounded great. I thought, just something about it. You just don't forget it, even after decades of it being not popular anymore.
I don't know. I think it's still popular. It's just there's not a lot of people playing it.
Yeah, but I mean, even stuff that came out 50 years ago in this genre of music, people know it today.
Yep.
Even people younger than me. But I just love it so much. So we really wanted to put together a project to be tribute to that genre.
Yeah, well, and I said this on the last show with the uncovered version of it. I mean, I went through all that because I look pretty good for 105, don't I? I went through all that stuff because we had all the, the stuff from the 60s and the early 70s and stuff. And all of a sudden, this ugly little rat snake called disco came in and was taking over everything. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell happened to music? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I mean, yeah, we did always have the Allman Brothers and the Charlie Daniels Band and Leonard Skinner, but there's this thing that emerged suddenly called Southern rock. And wow, that was just like, it was like getting oxygen when you really needed it, because that music was so great. Molly Hatchet was one of my favorites as well, but there was a bunch of other ones. And, that's why, like, when I went and saw when Carson was playing, well, I should say Applejack was playing, but Carson was singing that Molly Hatchet song. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, man, this is just so cool. And I'm watching him working his ass off, playing drums the way that he does, singing at the same time and trying to remember all the words. It was amazing. So,
yeah.
But anyway, I mean, let's just go around the table. I mean, start with Dan and go back again. Original influences, what got your motor running? What made you want to pick up a guitar and play music?
Yeah, I know I touched on this a little in the uncovered one, but like the obvious ones, like Stevie Ray Vaughan was my original dude.
Yeah.
Tony Iommi's still my favorite guitar player of all time. Sabbath is my favorite band of all time. But as far as like the Southern rock stuff goes, Gary Rossington was always a huge one for me.
Oh yeah.
He's underrated, I think, because Alan Collins is an absolute monster, and Ed King and Steve Gaines were insane.
Yeah.
Steve's the best guitar player that was ever in that band, but Gary's got a certain kind of feel and like swampiness to his playing that I just love. Obviously, like for the slide stuff, Dwayne and Derek are absolute monsters in their field. And then I think like pretty much any of the 3 from Molly Hatchet, you can find something cool from.
Yeah.
And like Huey Thomason from The Outlaws, like they all had this really good balance of shreddy athleticism almost in their guitar playing, but it all had like this blues background, so it all was very emotional and melodic and had a certain feel that comes out as Southern rock, be it the country or the blues background. But
Yeah.
it's hard not to like it when you're raised on a just blues background like I was.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Joe?
So kind of a similar kind of background to Dan. A lot of like I listened to metric tons of Sabbath when I was a kid. So Tony Iommi's a huge influence there. I listened to a lot of thrash from when I was a young kid. So some Pantera from Dimebag Darrell and Marty Friedman from Megadeth. These absolute just king shredders that was just like really just made angry 12-year-old me just glow and be like, this is awesome. I want to do what these guys do. And also too, back in that time, like I've been told for years now that I look a lot like Greg Allman. So I listened to a lot of Allman Brothers when I was younger, being like, hey, I guess I do look kind of like these guys. I'd say they're moderately handsome, so I'll take it as a compliment. We'll go with it. And yeah, I say there's some real ugly dudes in this genre, but we move.
Greg Allman bags shared, so
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
Oh, you
I
beat
got Allman going for me, I guess.
You beat me on that one, man. I was going to say that. and for the record, that was a young Cher without all the plastic surgery.
Yeah, natural Cher.
And she made him dry out up here in Buffalo with Bry Lynn.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Ties to Buffalo.
Ties to Buffalo.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I never really dug the Allman Brothers, but when you got to that I'm No Angel, Greg Allman solo thing,
Yeah.
you know, that was in the late 80s, but I mean, I thought that was a great song, but there was so much, and I never understood the comparison. Christina, I'm not ignoring you. I'll get to you in 1 second. I never understood the comparison to Skinner to the Allman Brothers. I mean,
It's too different. Even Skinner thought so, because they were both originally on the same circuit more or less, but then Skinner's on Sounds of the South, and then Allman's are on Capricorn. So once they were on two different labels, they weren't hitting each other that much as far as like where their gigs landed, and they tried to make a point of that, I think, just so they didn't get compared. I think it's just because they're both from the same area.
yeah, well, and I think it was more the media that did that anyway. It wasn't, you know, I don't think it was the fan base. I think it was the media that just felt that because they were both from the South, you know, the same kind of crap with the Beatles and the Stones. I mean, they completely different music. It didn't.
Oh, of course.
It didn't jive. And then they tried to throw the Dave Clark 5 in there. Oh, the Dave Clark 5 is better than the Beatles now. And it's like, shut up. Just, you know, go write your articles. Anyway, Christina, are you going to play saxophone for us tonight?
I am not. I don't have
Okay.
it set up. Gotta get some, new reads and stuff. But yeah, as far as me influences go, I grew up, like I said, on a lot of like Skinner and Molly Hatchet. I think Leon Wilkinson from Skinner was one of the greatest bass players ever. No one really talks about him. I feel like, when you ask someone like what their favorite bass players are, he's really never mentioned. But love him. Outside of that, I would definitely say Geezer Butler is like one of my favorite bass players. Mel Shasher from Grand Funk, he's like another one of my big influences.
Yeah.
This is my cat. His name is Lemmy. So like Lemmy from Motorhead, he was also one of my big influences. But yeah, any bass player that just really like drives the beat is what I'm about.
That's not Les Claypool.
But you don't see a lot of female bass players though.
Yeah, it is definitely a uncommon thing.
I mean, Sheryl Crow comes to mind. That's the only one I can really think of.
Yeah, I mean, the girl from like the Pixies was, I feel like it was more popular, more so in like the 90s kind of. But but yeah, I love it. I just picked it up when I was young and I thought it was cool, so I stuck with it.
Cool. And my buddy Carson, let's go to you next, man.
Yeah. I guess if I had to really pick, because like I didn't really necessarily have like drum influences. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Dave Grohl. Like I listened to a ton of Foo Fighters growing up, as far as like.
I thought it was the guy from the Flintstones.
What?
Nothing.
That one went right over my head.
I almost did a Yogi Bear impression there. Why did that over my mind?
Anyhow, yeah. Dave, I would say as far as drum influences, I would probably say I learned a lot from him. Foo Fighters was one of the first bands I really started drumming to that was at least somewhat intricate, I'll say, that wasn't just basic beats. But yeah, I mean, I grew up, like, the first bands I ever started listening to is to kind of hop on what Christina was saying about, like, taking stuff from her dad. I learned a lot just from my mom. My mom always had on Styx, or it was Genesis, a lot of progressive rock bands, and so those were like my first favorite bands before I got into like more of like heavy metal, like with Black Sabbath or Metallica, or things of that nature. It started as a lot of like prog rock, so those were the bands that I kind of started listening to. But yeah, influence I would easily say Dave Grohl.
But what made you choose drums as your main instrument?
It was kind of, my brother was a drummer.
Okay.
He's about 10 years older than me. He played the drums in like, school or whatever, like never really played in any bands, but he knew how to play. And naturally being a younger brother, like wanted to be like your older siblings, you just kind of adapt to what they do. Well, he played the drums, so naturally I wanted to play the drums. And in 4th grade, they asked you, what instrument do you want to play? So I wasn't going to play like the flute or the clarinet or something lame like the saxophone. But yeah, the drums was an option. But it wasn't the drums, it was like snare drum. It was percussion, right? So it was like the bell set, and it was all those things. So I thought I was going to be playing the drum set. Never ended up playing the drum set in 4th grade. It wasn't until about 7th grade that they allowed us to actually start playing the drums, giving us like drum sheet music for band and stuff. So that's when I started, and then got into playing in bands when I was about 14, 15 years old with some friends from high school.
Yeah, but so you always had drums around the house, so they were available to you.
They were available, yeah. But to be honest, nobody really played them. If anything, it was like actually playing the video game Rock Band. Because if you take the drums from the video game Rock Band, it's the same thing as playing the drums in real life. It's not like the guitar. Like if you play the guitar in Rock Band, it's nothing like it. But if you play the drums on Rock Band, it's the exact same motion as playing the drums in real life. So if you can play the drums, hypothetically, if you can play the drums on Rock Band, you could hypothetically play the drums in real life, in my opinion.
Well, you picked up guitar pretty quick too. What have you been playing for, about 2 years?
I got serious about it about 1.5 years ago. Like I kind of picked it up 2 years ago and like could kind of play your G, C, and D. And that's also why I like Dave Grohl, because he started as a drummer for playing with Nirvana, and was known as being a drummer, and then went his separate way and being a lead frontman as a guitar player and singer. And that's I love that, because I love to sing, I love to play guitar. So yeah, I started doing the acoustic shows. Well, about probably 1 year ago, really started to get into the solo acoustic thing, and even filling in for bands as a lead front man. I've filled in for Wasted Whiskey a couple times, lead singing, playing acoustic guitar. So yeah, that's a huge passion for me.
Is there a band around that you have not played with yet? Because every time I look, you're playing with a different band.
Yeah,
do you sleep? Do you ever sleep?
There's like when it gets to like that 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock a.m. hour, I usually catch a quick hour before I have to wake up for work. But yeah, I find about an hour or two in the day to catch up on my sleep.
Well, I got to throw something at Christina real quick, because last night, do you ever watch Access TV? Have you ever seen that? They've got a lot of music things on there, like the day the rock star died and whatever.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that type of stuff. They had one on last night, and somebody took a shot at you for playing saxophone, and I'm telling you right now, that is one of the sexiest instruments ever. And I'm watching this thing last night, only half an hour, but the top 10 saxophone songs, and there were so many of them that were in there. You Belong to the City, and Turn the Page. Yeah, that was number 1, I think.
Always number 1. Turn the Page.
Yeah, I mean, that, as far as I'm concerned, there aren't enough people that play saxophone. So
Baker Street.
Yeah.
Baker Street.
Well, thank you. I'm glad someone appreciates that.
Well, yeah, because if you remember the last time you were on, you and Vicky Lehman, you had both taken saxophone, and so did our keyboard player. He took up saxophone in the when he was in school and stuff like that. But yeah, no disses against saxophone. I love the saxophone. It's got a great sound to it.
Yeah, for sure.
You made a great pun that it was the sexiest instrument ever.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity for a pun there, Peter. Sorry.
No, because about 4 or 5 people made that on that show I was watching last night. They said, "Why don't they call it a saxophone?" You know,
That's inappropriate.
Yeah.
That's not clean.
yeah, I'm not going into that, man. I don't want to go there. Anyway, so you guys have been rehearsing. You got your set list down and stuff like that. The big announcement is
gonna wing it.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we haven't gotten together once, actually. This is the first time we actually all gotten together.
I just met Joe yesterday. We were thinking about, just listen to the songs, everybody show up, see how it goes. No.
No, but we have a set list. I think it's a pretty good coverage of what people think of when they think of Southern rock. We have Skinner, Molly Hatchet, Black Oak, Arkansas, Outlaws, Allman Brothers, all that
Marshall
good
Tucker.
stuff in there. Marshall Tucker, yeah.
38 special.
38 special.
Yeah.
So you're gonna hear all that on Sunday, and then
Bouvier trio.
as we go on, of course we'll add some more in, but we have a good solid set right now. So.
Yeah, well, and that kind of alludes to the other point is beyond the show coming up, and we're not announcing anything until at least like next week. But there's going to be at least probably a half a dozen more shows between now and the end of the year.
Well, all right. That was something I was going to ask you about, because anybody that doesn't know, this Sunday, 4:00, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Rockin' Buffalo. 3-hour set?
Yep. 4 to 7.
Because I will definitely be there. And a $5 cover charge, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want that guy at the door like when I went to see Applejack saying, "Hey, get over here."
Oh, did that happen?
Oh, I didn't know that there was a cover charge. We just walked in. He was talking to somebody. I didn't know that he was a guy collecting money. And I'm halfway. I was almost over to where Carson was standing at the time. And the guy's yelling, he's like, "You talking to me? What? What do you want? You got to pay $5 to get in here." I said, "Oh, nobody told me that." I didn't mind, but I didn't know. So that's what I'm saying. That so that.
Yeah. Sunday, 4:00, $5 cover. It's gonna be cool. There's a lot of stuff that we haven't even teased or said anything about, but it's definitely gonna be one of the more fun shows. We've put a lot into the stage setup, the production of the whole thing. The set list has been gone over time and time again. I'm really happy with how it all turned out, because it's a really good, like Christina said, it's a really good coverage of everything, and it's not just the greatest hits that you hear on 97 Rock. It's actually a lot of cool stuff.
The deep tracks.
Yeah, well, like we're named after one of the deep tracks, and probably a deep enough track that most people don't know that, but it is awesome, and hopefully as we play it more and more and more, it won't be that deep of a track.
I'm not gonna lie. I as big a fan as I am of the genre, I had to ask Carson, where'd the name come from? Remember, Carson?
I recall, yeah.
Yeah, so I believe, Danny Joe Brown was in Molly Hatchet.
Yep.
And then he quit Molly Hatchet and formed the Danny Joe Brown Band. And I believe him, Danny Joe Brown, Bobby Ingram, and a few others wrote the song Edge of Sundown. So that's on his Danny Joe Brown Band album. And then I believe he was back in Molly Hatchet, and then Molly Hatchet would perform the song live. And I just always thought it was a kick-ass song. It sounds so cool. Like the beginning is nice and slow, and it's building, and then the ending is just kick-ass.
Yeah, it's probably the heaviest song in the set list, I would say, because everything Molly Hatchet is like yeehaw metal.
Yep.
Yeah, more than they are Southern rock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's what I like about what Christina just said, because that to me, and I'm going back to what I said earlier about, because all of a sudden disco was all over the place, and then there was Southern rock, and exactly what I thought, Christina, it was kick-ass all of a sudden, where we hadn't had kick-ass in a few years, because you had the Bee Gees doing their prancy crap.
Whoa, all right, hey.
I do like disco.
I do enjoy myself.
Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Not gonna lie.
You're gonna talk smack about Disco Kiss.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, man. I just didn't like disco at all.
I was made for love you and played it.
Dynasty is one of the best Kiss albums of all
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's a bold statement.
I mean, Gene Simmons could have kept the makeup.
Half of Destroyer sucks. Anyway.
Who brought up Kiss?
I brought up Disco Kiss.
Disco
Oh,
Kiss.
Disco Kiss. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I mean, no. Look, again, I'm going with what Christina said. Kick ass. That was all of a sudden. That was just bam. It was in your face, and it was good to hear, and it just fit in so well at the time. Even with shows that were on television back then, I mean, you had so many things that were centered in the South, like Dallas and Dukes of Hazzard, and it was just some cool stuff. You guys got a website that people can go to, or are we too premature on that?
Just a Facebook for right now.
Facebook
and
Instagram, social media. So
Okay.
check us out there.
Yeah. If you go to any of our social medias, you'll find the link tree link that you can click on. That will have every social media on there. So no matter which one you're on, you can find the other ones.
Okay. And Dan, what you said earlier, I wanted to go back to that because I'm not asking you to announce gigs or anything, but what is, because you're all in other bands that are, working bands, guys that are working, a lot. What's your plan for this band in terms of how often people might be able to see you and where you're planning to go and things like that?
Well, the original intent is 6 to 10 gigs a year was our original goal, and we hit that as far as booking stuff
Within a week.
As soon as this got announced, my phone just vibrated off the desk, and then we had everything we wanted to book. So it's actually not that difficult because everybody's so busy so far in advance. Obviously, Carson's got Applejack and Christian Kramer and whoever else calls him on a given night. Christina and I both have Uncovered. I have my metal band Damages. Joe has his metal band Invictra. He's also in another band called Dreadnecks, and he's also in another band called Contrarian, which is all original metal stuff. Our keyboard player Jeff is the bass player for Songbirds, a tribute to Fleetwood Mac, who are excellent. And I'm not even a huge Fleetwood Mac fan past the Peter Green era, but they're great. And then Kai is also in Buster Knuckles, who are kind of in a transition period right now because they're going for a new drummer and lineup change kind of thing. But we all have other bands, so we only have so many free dates that all 6 of us are available. So all we have to do is look at the calendar, and if it lines up, we do it. If it doesn't, we don't.
Now, for anybody that's not a working musician, I just want to throw this in there because everything that Dan just said, that was a lot. But you got to keep in mind that all these people work full-time jobs on top of that. And they've got other things in lives where they have to go to birthday parties and first communion parties and things like that. So this is a lot, not to mention all the rehearsal time that they put into all this stuff, the setup, the tear down. There's a lot that goes into being a working band and having a second project like this on top of that. And again, I was kidding with Carson before because every time he comes over here to my place, he drinks all the beer, he drinks all the wine, he drinks everything that's here because I'm kidding. Carson doesn't drink at all. I don't think he finished a bottle of water the last time he was here.
We're all out of Coke Zero for a reason.
But no, I mean, total respect to you guys because again, there's so much work that goes into this, and do it while you're young because you're very talented, and you've got the ambition to be able to do that stuff. And again, much respect for what you do. Yeah. What else? We're getting close to the end. I want to know what else you guys want to say, please. So,
well, I did want to touch on Jeff and Kai because, like I said, they're 2 musicians that are just absolutely phenomenal at what they do. And Dan and Christina can speak a little bit more about Jeff playing keys and doing vocals because they've known him longer. But Kai is we're so excited. Yeah, we're at practice. He's the most energetic. You would think when we're doing practice, he's doing a live show because he's got so much energy. He's so full of life. We cannot wait to see him perform live on Sunday because we really haven't seen him perform live yet. But if he does an ounce of what he does at practice, it's going to be really, really cool. And he's just got this incredible range and this great tone that fits the Southern rock so well.
He's a great dude.
Yeah, just great guy.
Great
But
guy,
then
guy.
I'll let Dan and Christina, because like I said, they've known Jeff a little bit longer, so they can speak a little bit more to his abilities and whatnot.
Yeah, I've known Jeff since I actually went to college. And I've actually known Jeff longer than anyone in the band, even Dan. But Jeff has always been an amazing musician. I met him when I went to Villa Maria, and he's an amazing piano player, keyboard player. He does backup vocals too. He's great at that. He's also a music teacher, so he teaches
Oh, wow.
kids music, which is really cool.
So knowledgeable.
Keeping the music education alive with younger kids. So props to him for sure.
Yeah, Jeff's absolutely. He was the first person out of anybody I got a hold of, because I kind of figured if Jeff's not going to do it, I don't know how I make this band happen, because Jeff is his favorite band is the Allman Brothers. He is a beyond talented keyboard player. He's classically trained, but he has the same influences, be it Greg Allman, John Lord, that kind of old school Hammond thing.
Yeah.
But he's got the chops, he's got the vocals, and like Christina kind of mentioned, we played in a band with Jeff and two of the other guys from Songbirds, Dave and Christian, in a cover band, just doing general kind of whatever, anything, just kind of amateurishly back in 2018 and 2019. And we'd kind of gone our separate ways musically, but we all stayed friends. So it was cool that they came back out and got the success they have doing Songbirds. But I've always been thinking, like, I need Jeff in a band to play keyboards, because he's too good not to do that for an entire show.
Yeah.
Jeff really, he orchestrates a lot. I mean, if there's parts that we're confused on, he just has, especially like Dan said, the Allman Brothers. I mean, he tells us when we play something wrong, and that's the thing too, that I want to say about being in a group with these types of musicians, is that not only is everybody so picky about everything being right, because calling ourselves a tribute, like, we want everything to be as close to as people know it. As
Oh, yeah.
But not only that, but when you spoke about being a kick-ass band, I wanted to touch on that too, because this is the most energetic and I'll say kick-ass group that I've ever been a part of, because every single member is just all over the place. They're incredible at what they do. Kind of an honor just to be in the band, like being kind of a mad drummer, but everybody else is so good that I can say it's an honor to be part of the group.
No, I'm looking forward to Sunday. I have been looking forward to Sunday for a very long time. But I got one other question, and I guess this should probably go to Dan. You said that this has been in the works since 2018. What was the date that you finally said, okay, this is it, we're doing this?
Last week of July or first week of August last year.
Oh, is that long ago? No kidding.
Yeah. So that was when I was sitting up here in my studio room, and I think I was just playing along to some Skynyrd or something, just like hanging out, jamming, not doing anything productive. And then I was thinking about the fact, I'm like, well, Carson and I have already jammed on like some Skynyrd and Allman Brothers, and I know he's into the music. Obviously me and Christina are into it, and I was thinking, I'm like, well, Jeff is Greg Allman reincarnate. At the time, we were going to have my good friend Tyler play, because he's an absolute monster on slide guitar. But he was the same thing. Work schedules hadn't worked out, and I knew Joe had heard about it and was interested. So I was like, I'll have to get a hold of Joe. I was like, he's got to be the dude.
I was there by default.
Dan and Christina are just a package deal.
Unless it's death metal.
Which is also really funny, like thinking of the way that everything kind of correlates together. Is I'm in my band Invictra, he's in his band Damages. The drummer for both of those bands is our buddy Chris. He was in Damages for the longest time. When Invictra was in need of a drummer, he was like, why don't you ask Chris? And we asked Chris, and Chris has been saving Invictra so we can finally do some more stuff. And we're about to put a record out here soon. He's just absolutely killing it.
Yeah, we're like musical swingers. We all just go into each other's bands.
I want to play an uncovered gig and see if anyone notices that.
Yeah.
Dan.
Well, so the funny thing with that too is like having Joe in the band is super fitting because I'm like, what am I, 9 years older?
Yeah, I'm 24.
Yeah, Joe's 24 and I'm 32. So I used to work at Guitar Center and I knew Joe when he was like 12.
Yeah. I remember coming in and I was playing Megadeth on just some sort of strat, and him and this other kid named Chris M were coming to me like, "This dude playing Megadeth?"
I was like, that little kid's playing Megadeth and he's got long hair. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, we're friends now, obviously, and yeah, friends ever since. Like I said, it's a real awesome thing, and honestly, like an honor in so many senses of being in a band like this, being able to jam with someone I've wanted to make music with for the longest time, and then meeting Carson and my times of working at Guitar Center, dude's awesome. I love Christina to death. Jeff and Kai are absolutely wonderful human beings and are so ungodly talented at what they do. It's an awesome thing, and it's a very humbling thing to feel like almost the weakest link at points in this band. So I'm just
I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what, Joe, because now, all right, I'm going to lay the cards on the table. I actually never saw Dan play live, but when Carson and I were here, we sat here talking music for what, 6 hours, Carson? Something like that?
Yeah, 6 or 7 probably.
Yeah, and 7. He pulled out his phone. He showed me some photos or some videos of you playing guitar. And that's part of the reason when we were at Bloomfield's a couple weeks ago, when they started doing Freebird, and I turned around, I looked at you, I'm like, holy shit, man, you should be up there. But I was blown away watching you play, and Carson told me that Joe is equally as good as you. And
yeah, Joe had more. He practiced more than I did.
Yeah, I've had a lot more, because again, I knew a lot of this stuff. My mom actually somewhere in my house has like a first pressing of Street Drivers on vinyl, and I've been trying my best to find it. So I grew up with it a little bit. But yeah, so I really am sitting down and being like, all right, let's learn this. Let's buy myself a Stratocaster, because I don't have that for some ungodly reason in my collection.
Oh, I just meant in general. You're a better guitar player than me.
No, dude, no, stop that.
Well, I don't know.
Amazing thing of being in a band, and that's how I feel like being in Victra, and I feel about being here. It's nice when you're in a project and every person in the band makes you want to be better. Like, I look at Jeff and he's just sitting there, like during Christmas time, he's playing all the Vince Guaraldi tunes, just pulling them out of a hat because this dude is just so talented. His ear is so well trained. He'll just pull out anything at any point. It's like,
well, I can play a C chord.
So can Carson.
Let's go.
That's
We can give him guitar lessons after jam.
sounds like we're on the same level there, Pete.
Shred battle now.
I don't know, man. I tell you what, I am so looking forward to Sunday, and I have been, like I said, for a long time, because I'm going to be there at least for the very first set, and I'm looking forward to it, because this is going to be, it's going to be really cool. Because again, I've seen I've Dan and Christina play. I've actually played with Carson. Carson played in a couple of my recordings, and I thought that was very cool. And hopefully he'll come back and do some more, because kick-ass drummer, man. I'll tell you that.
Thank you.
What else do we need to know about Edge of Sundown before we end things for?
Bring your cowboy hats.
Bring your cowboy hats. I got to buy one.
Dress the part. Have a good time with us.
Yeah, stay. Watch the socials, because there's going to be a lot more news coming out a lot quicker than a lot of people are thinking. It's not going to be a one and done thing. There's not a lot of this kind of music getting played.
No, there's not. And that's what's so cool about it, Dan.
Well, that was one of the things I thought. I was like, I love this music. And there's not that many bands doing it at all, if any frequency. All props to Fair Trade with their annual show at the Cove. I was at the most recent one. So was Carson. That was kick ass. I just want to do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know there's kind of a void that we're filling with it, and I'm excited to do it. And hopefully we do it well enough that people like it.
Something I think that's really cool about what you guys are doing, though, is that, you mentioned your I got it right here. Jeff is in a Fleetwood Mac cover band.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Fleetwood Mac cover bands. There's a lot of Pink Floyd cover bands. There's a lot of Kiss cover bands. You guys are covering a genre. And that is, to me, that is a lot cooler than covering a specific, band type thing. And, I mean, a good friend of mine, and everybody knows, anybody that knows me knows that I love the Beatles. I've loved the Beatles since I was 5 years old.
Mhm.
But there's so many Beatle cover bands. I would never go see one. I was lucky enough to go see McCartney in 2015 or something like that. That was fantastic to me, but it was a Beatle. You guys are not a real Beatle.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go see a Beatles cover band. Whereas what you guys are doing, in my opinion, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, but I just really dig the Southern rock stuff, and I'm glad that you picked a genre rather than a particular band to cover. So, my opinion.
Yeah, it could have been real easy to be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna be a Skinner tribute. Or, you could easily picked one and been like, there's obviously enough hits from any of these bands that we can do it. But it's exactly that. It keeps our sets super interesting. You're not going to come see us and we're not going to play the same set each time. Like, there will be something different. It's just, you're not going to be sitting there hearing 3 hours of Skinner. You're going to be hearing.
Well, yeah, but Joe, another thing that, what you just said is, as I'm concerned, is very important, because Christina earlier said about the name of the band was, a deep cut on a Danny Joe Brown album, right? That's cool. But I mean, everybody knows the hits. And back in the day, you used to go buy the CD or the album or the 45 or whatever because of the hit. The better music has always been the deep cuts.
Yeah. And I really hope that this band, will introduce people to those deeper cuts and get them familiar with it, so that they do end up listening to, okay, they played this song, what album is that on? I'm going to listen to the whole thing. So I think that would be something cool that would happen.
Yeah. I mean, we're still going to play the hits. Like, everybody should know. Anybody who comes to a Rockin' Buffalo gig, everybody knows what Rockin' Buffalo is. The people going to it should know just about every song that we do. But as we, move forward, we hope to introduce a lot of, like they said, deep tracks to people.
Cool.
Like I said, it's everybody will know most of our, just about all of our set lists.
Kind of like whatever you're expecting to come in and see a Southern rock tribute do, will do, and more. You're gonna leave with a smile.
Because we want everybody to be able to sing along with all the songs. Because as you go to a gig, like, you like to hear stuff that you want to be able to sing along. That's what people like with live music. So we, most people should know just about everything we do.
We're there to entertain, not just self-indulge.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. No, I get it. I'll tell you what, guys, this has been really fantastic, and I'm really pleased that I had you guys on for the last show of our season. And again, go see Edge of Sundown if you can this Sunday, right? 4:00 at Rockin' Buffalo, and be prepared to have fun, because I think it's going to be.
If you don't work Monday, you got to drink with us.
All right. Be prepared for that as well.
Yes.
And have a bottle of water with Carson.
I'll throw up. If I drink and then I go back on the drum set for the second set, I throw up. It's happened. I don't want to. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable.
It's so hot to begin with, and then that on top. Thanks.
Cleaning up the drums is not a fun activity.
I like extra to clean up the stage on door.
Yeah, that's not great.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. This has been a lot of fun. Again, looking forward. I will be there on Sunday. I will see you then. And Joe, great to meet you. I've met everybody else in the band, but hopefully I'll meet the other two folks as well, Kai and Jeff. So
you'll meet all of us on Saturday.
Sunday.
Sunday.
All right. Hey, again, last show of the season. So glad these guys were here with us. We'll be picking this back up again in the fall, and it's the whole season's been a lot of fun. And again, I know I mentioned this before, but I'm looking for 3 female backup singers for a new release that we're doing. So anyway, I hope everybody has a great summer. We'll see you in the fall. And as always, support local music. This is Kramer out. Good night.